Trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Move. Tell us why you agree.
I agree because trans women should be able to compete in women's sports because they are competing underneath their identity that they very solidly align with.
Do you agree with what she said?
Yes, but that's not specifically why I agree that trans women should be able to compete in sports.
Okay. Why do you think?
I believe trans women should be able to compete in sports because there's specific criterion.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
That trans women have to meet in order to be able to compete under the woman category.
Oh man, we got another controversial one for y'all today. You understand? Listen, I'm gonna need you to go in my comments, go on my DM on Instagram, go on my X, leave a message. If you got any suggestions, any videos, make sure you put it on there, right? In the meantime, we're about to react to Peter Boghossian, where he is on a college campus having a heated exchange in regards to, is it okay for trans women to be in women's sports? Now, make sure you go in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is it okay or is it not okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Sit back and react. Let's go.
We're going to have a conversation about trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. Anybody have an opinion about that? I have a feeling this is too controversial for people, so we might have to change the claim. But somebody must want to have an honest conversation about this. Do you think trans women should be able to compete in women's sports? Too controversial, even for you, son. This alone is interesting to me. Nobody will have a conversation about this. Interesting. I'll give someone else the mic and let them question me about this claim. Trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. You want to have that conversation? Nope, too scared. Okay. You want to have that conversation? Nope, too scared. Too scared. Okay. Anybody. Trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. Be terrifying. Trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. Anybody have it? You have an opinion? I do. Awesome. Stand on the neutral line right there.
Okay.
So the game has only 2 rules. We can do it with one. Oh, we got 2 people. Oh, we got 3 people. All right. Well, I was wrong. I was wrong. I didn't think it would come. Okay, stand on neutral. Okay, so this is a very simple game. We have a few rules. The first rule is you can't stand in between the line.
Okay.
Very straightforward.
That is.
The second rule is you can't move until I say move. And the reason for that is because we don't want anybody's opinion to affect anybody else's opinion.
Be swayed, gotcha.
Exactly, precisely. Now let me go over this. Strongly agree, slightly agree, neutral, slightly disagree, strongly disagree. So I'm going to ask this question and count back to 5, and don't move until I get to go and stand on a line. It could not possibly be any simpler, but you'd be astonished how many people do not pay attention to the rules.
College.
That don't mean anything.
Trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, we've got 1 disagree, 1 strongly agree, 2. Oh, you're on the line. Okay.
I gotta stop it right here. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm stopping it. I just feel like women should just stick with women. Why are y'all allowing men to disguise themselves as women? No disrespect. All right, I have no hate for anyone. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just calling out the obvious, all right? Because if I was to step outside in a police uniform and start arresting people, y'all gonna say I'm crazy. You understand? All right, now back to what I'm saying. Women need to stop pandering to trans women being women. They are not women. All right, you ladies are women. You were born a woman and you will always be a woman. Y'all gotta let them be in their own lane. I'm telling you, stop letting them fool y'all.
Okay, tell us why you agree.
I agree because trans women should be able to compete in women's sports because they are competing underneath their identity that they very solidly align with, and to deprive them of that is to kind of say that their identity is not acceptable in society.
In society or
like in sports, that they're not valid. Their identity is not validated.
Okay. Do you agree with what she said?
Yes, but that's not specifically why I agree that trans women should be able to compete in sports.
Okay. Why do you think?
I believe trans women should be able to compete in sports because there's specific criterion. that trans women have to meet in order to be able to compete under the woman category.
In which sports?
I'm not an expert on all sports.
I'm not an expert either.
But I do know for at least the Olympics, there are requirements for trans women because when trans women go on not testosterone, when trans women go on hormones, testosterone drops in them. So a lot of the natural advantages they might have being born in a man's body are depleted, like the extra strength testosterone gives you and so on and so forth. So they have to be below a certain testosterone level. They have to be on estrogen for a certain amount of time. And even the rule where you have to be below a certain testosterone percentages have stopped cis women from competing.
Oh, here we go with the rhetoric and semantics. Cis woman? I need to know what a cis woman is, all right? We're going to continue press and play so we can all understand or overstand what a cis woman means. Listen, as a woman, as a real biological woman, you should not be okaying a man dressing up, trying to look like you, right? Because what is that saying? We have enough women in the world. What are they saying? They better than you women? No. First off, they way stronger. So any sport that they're going to join, they're going to dominate. I'm not saying there's women that are not stronger than men. There are plenty of women that are probably way stronger than some men. However, those men don't make up the percentage of the strongest men. You understand what I'm saying? So this right here, I don't know. When I see women saying that trans women should play in sports, I just look at women like, why are you okaying this right here? They're infiltrating who you are, who and how you was born to be. They think that they're better than what you are at what you do. Explain that.
Sports. So they're very like hard set rules. There's no
Cis woman meaning what?
cis woman. Women who are born as
What?
women.
Women who were born as women. Okay.
Cis women, yes. Cis
Isn't that just a
cisgender
woman?
is when you're born in the correct sex. So like I was born a woman, I identify as a woman still, I'm cis. If I were to identify as non-binary or anything else, I would not be cis. How are you gonna ask this question and not know what cis means?
Cis to many people means something different. Cis can mean a homegirl to another woman. Cis can mean my actual biological sister or just, you know, a short term. But to say that cis means a woman who was born in her correct sex, that's made up bullshit at this point. You understand what I'm saying? A woman is a woman. To say I'm a cis woman, now you're saying that you're 100% female, that sounds insane. I mean, how far of a delusional rabbit hole are we going to continue going? I don't understand this. 10 years ago, you couldn't identify yourself as anything. It's either male or female. That is it. That's how you were born. If you die and they dig up your bones, they're either going to say it's a woman or a man. They can't say, oh, these bones identified as such and such. You understand? Make it make sense. You got to think critically. This is why I say most of the education is indoctrination. You know what I mean? These people are being told how to think. That's not right. I mean, that's a waste of college tuition if you ask me. They sound lost.
Well, cis isn't in the question, and what cis
yeah,
might
but,
mean
like-
to you, that doesn't mean that people watching this are going to know what cis means.
Things are a definition. Things mean things.
Huh?
Cisgender means one thing. That's
mean
just-
Is it
Right.
possible that some people could define or perceive the word women to be different?
Well, I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about the term cisgender.
Yeah, so I think it's important that we define our terms. That's why I wanted to define it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's unfair enough for me to ask you to define it?
No, I just don't. It sounded like you didn't know what cisgender was, and I was just wondering if you didn't know that was why you thought you should ask that question.
Oh no, I'll tell you why later. But I'm a legitimate gender studies scholar.
Oh, perfect then.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I don't mean to brag, but I've really outpublished almost anyone in the world in gender studies.
You do need to back a little bit. That is impressive.
Thank you. I'll show you my body of literature later. But for now, trans women should be able to compete in women's sports. What do you think about that?
I do not think they should be able to do that.
Okay. Did
Okay.
anything that they persuade you? Think about that for a second, but tell us why.
I just think the biological makeup of a man is not the same as a woman, whether they take hormones or not.
Word.
Especially if they've been competing in that sport for years.
Agreed.
They did it originally as a man or woman, and then they switched to female, which I played a female sport growing up.
What did you play?
Lacrosse, which is very different.
That's
from,
the one with the thing, the
with
net
stick,
with the
yeah.
like that.
Which
You
is
use
very
body
different
too, right?
from male lacrosse. So I just think that it comes down to the biological makeup of like the training used for it and everything. But I agree with a lot of the stuff that they say. I'm not like,
Nah. There's no such thing as you agree with a lot of the things that they say. It's either you agree or you disagree. You can't have your foot on both sides of the fence. It don't work like that. Now you sounding confused. I was with you in the beginning. You losing me now.
I shouldn't do it, but I just think it should be.
So you think, and I just want to make sure I get your argument right, you think that they shouldn't do it because it confers an unfair advantage on the person, even if they've met their hormone requirements, because as a biological male ages before they transition, they have certain intrinsic advantages. Height, for example, maybe in basketball. Or now that doesn't mean all men are tall, but on a Gaussian curve, it means that more men are tall than women.
Yeah.
So is that? I don't want to mischaracterize.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Did that persuade you?
I would say no, because we have talked about like the hormones and like the genetic makeup of a male body versus a female body, but there are changes that can happen whenever someone starts to transition that
Now it's all making sense. Now I see why they're trying to teach the toddlers about this. By the time they become this age, they're gonna act just like the women on the left. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to say, no, we're cis women. We're not women. We're cis women. You understand? This is indoctrinating at its best right here. I'm sure they learned this in school and they're just answering politically correct. That's all they're doing right now. Had they never been taught this right now, common sense would tell them, ain't no way, Jose, a man is going to be playing in a women's sport. You understand what I mean? But because you got taught to think and learn a specific way, you're going to disagree with it.
can affect their muscle density, just like their overall genetic makeup. Well, not their genetic makeup, but like their hormones and just how their body functions. So I don't know if that is like completely valid in
They're
arguing
lost.
this.
What if I could provide you with evidence that even with the hormone replacement therapy, that still conferred an advantage on people born as men?
That it wouldn't give them
It would even if they underwent hormone therapy,
Right. Then they're-
it still was an advantage for the trans woman to participate in sports. Would you then be for it or against it?
I would be open to revising my opinion if there's evidence presented upon that.
So you would be open to revising, and would you be open to revising your opinion to go to the agree or the slightly agree?
Slightly agree, but I don't think I would go any farther than that.
Okay. Okay. So the thing that's keeping you must be some identity factor.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about that in a second. So just to be clear, I don't want to put words in your mouth. If you were to be shown evidence to your satisfaction that people born as male who transition, who met the requirements of whatever lacrosse or
still have an
what-
unfair advantage.
yeah, if you were to be shown that they would still have an unfair advantage, you would be willing to move one, possibly two, but not three. Is that what you said? Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
Okay, if you were to be shown that advantage, would you move?
Probably not.
Okay, what would it take for you to move?
Nothing, probably. I feel pretty strongly about this. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Even if you were to show me proof that people born as men who transition as women still have an unfair advantage, I would believe that full-heartedly. I wouldn't try to dispute that if I saw the facts behind that.
Yeah.
However, sports inherently have genetic advantaged players, like Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps.
Oh, with the
Yeah. He didn't produce lactic acid. He had an abnormally large wingspan. He had webbed toes and webbed feet, and that was up to him from competing.
That's just a bad analogy right there. She's just trying to manipulate anything that fits her narrative of her delusional mind at this point.
An unfair genetic advantage. We don't care about genetic advantages until it's someone transitioning from a man to a woman or a woman to a man.
I have to call you. I have to push back on that. I have personally never heard anybody concerned about people transitioning to a man competing in men's sports. Have you?
No, that's also another problem. Why are we so focused on trans women and not trans?
I mean, that's what this whole conversation is about. Obviously, you don't know how to pay attention and you're in school. That is a shame right there. Hopefully your parents are not looking at this right here. Let's just say there's a woman who's trying to be a man. Let her go in a man's sport. You're going to see the girl come out of her. I'm telling you, you will see the girl come out of her.
Trans man as well.
Well, I
think
think
and it's an unfair advantage.
Yeah,
it should be.
that's why.
It should be but that's what I'm saying. No one really cares about it being an unfair advantage, or we wouldn't like basketball, for instance.
Yeah.
If you're tall and height, you could still make it to the NBA if you're like above 6'7". But if you're below 6 foot and phenomenal,
Yeah, that's a basketball short.
no, this is football. My shirt. This is the Seahawks, the football team.
Oh, okay. I don't know much about sports.
Yeah, well,
Ask me about gender studies. That's a different thing. But let's say.
Well, because it's about sports, some of the logistics you have to, are like that are in sports come into play here. And like I said, a lot of sports is genetic advantage. Like being born and having an aptitude for something shouldn't mean you can't do it. No one, like I said, no one wanted Michael Phelps not swim in the Olympics.
So do you think that there should be one division and we just throw all men and women in the same division?
And that's not what I said.
No, but I'm asking you, is that what you think?
No.
Why not?
Honestly, I just haven't given that enough thought. I do think there is, some pros to having two separate divisions for men and women. But like I said, honestly, I haven't.
What are the pros?
Honestly, I haven't given that enough thought.
Slap your daddy. Slap your mother daddy.
To have like a concrete stance on it that I would want to fully stand
That's
behind
fair.
because I haven't done enough research or thought on it.
That's fair. So you think that there should be two divisions?
As of right now, before I do a lot of like thinking about it, but like I said, like I haven't put enough thought to it to give you a clear, firm stance.
Okay, so I'm kind of think through this myself. So the reason, and could be totally wrong, I'm just trying to figure this out myself. So the reason that there are two divisions are because there must be certain categories of things that different sexes are better at, or there wouldn't be divisions in the first place, unless it was just like some social convention.
You're not wrong there.
He wasn't wrong anywhere.
So is it possible to abstract from that and say that that reason is what confers an advantage on somebody?
No, because you can have advantages over someone who's also the same gender as you, just as a different gender does. Gender is not the only factor that provides an advantage or not. However, it's definitely one that contributes to an advantage you have.
That makes no sense.
Right. And
Because there was a trans swimmer in the Olympics. She didn't win. If trans women really have a crazy advantage on women, why didn't she sweep? Why didn't she do the
what does sweep mean?
win everything?
Oh,
Absolutely
sweep,
yeah, like win all the awards.
Oh, I thought you meant give her a mop and like sweep up.
No, why didn't she win all the awards? Why didn't she win every race? And why didn't she beat them by like seconds? Which is very.
But she did get into the Olympics.
She got into the Olympics. She didn't win.
Why they didn't
And
let
that's
a
because
real
she's
woman
a
get into the
trained
Olympics?
Swimmer. That's because she's been training to swim for as
Taking
long
up
as everyone else
space.
has. So it makes sense she got into the Olympics. She's been swimming at that time for her entire career. But like I said, she didn't sweep. She didn't have such a crazy advantage that she was performing.
She doesn't make any sense right now. Imagine you're a woman and they pick a man trying to be a woman over you. How would you feel? You understand? Forget about how would you feel. That's just not right. All around, that's not right. You're a woman, he's a man. He's trying to be a woman and he took your spot. Let me know your thoughts on that right there. You understand? Listen, this is going to go in further and further and further. I don't want to take away from Peter Boghossian, so make sure you go on his channel and you can watch the rest of this video. I definitely will link the video in my description so you can check the full video out. It's about 40 minutes long. So shout out to Peter Boghossian, and make sure you go ahead and follow my channel as well. If you like reactions like this, consider hitting that like button. Definitely subscribe to my channel. Also hit the notification bell. Go in the comments, run it up, flood it up. Let me know your thoughts on this right here. Again, look, to each his own. You do what you want to do, baby. But now when you're trying to infiltrate, hey, we got to stop it at that point right there. All right, see you in the next one.